It's time for another tomato update. But before I do that, I thought I'd mention this. You might have noticed in the other videos it was leaning against the wall behind the tent. And you might have wondered, what is that? Turns out that one of my hobbies is an artist. I paint in acrylics, and this is one of my abstract pieces. It's called Arrive, and I think it's one of my best abstracts. I really enjoy abstracts, but I find them hard to paint. This is my more usual painting. I like fine detail, realistic painting. And this is a picture of me in a canoe on one of my Arctic trips where we went by this big iceberg. It's not quite done. I just don't have any time to get back to it because I'm so busy growing tomatoes. I wasn't planning on an update yet, but there's some interesting news I want to tell you about, so I thought, let's do an update. It's November 1st, and I think the timing's just perfect. Now, in my last video, I'd mentioned that I did have a bit of fungal growth in the tent, and I was a bit concerned about moisture. And several of you added comments voicing the same concerns. You said, I'm going to need a fan to move air around, otherwise I'll have fungal problem. And you were right. It was too humid in the tent. So what I've done is I've opened up all of the vents around the outside, and I created a new vent which doesn't really exist in this tent. I've just taken the door, and instead of closing it all the way down, I've lifted it up. And I used the Velcro from this front window to hold it in place. Now I have a big opening here, and the air moves through the tent and out through the vent at the top. Now this seems to be working quite well. I still don't have a fan. It doesn't feel humid inside when I open it up, so I'm getting better air circulation. And the molding problem that I've seen is disappeared. So I think this is going to work, and I don't think I need to use a fan. And because I'm opening it down here, I'm not really losing a lot of light in this tent. The reason for today's video, I have red tomato. My Sweet 100s have gotten quite red here, and it's ready to harvest. And I thought November 1st, that's a good time to do my first tomato harvest. In the back, I have other tomatoes that are almost ready. And my purples are doing really well too. And there's a couple here that are starting to get color. Now they're not quite ready for harvest, but they're getting really close. So this is my first Sweet 100 out of the grow tent. It looks good. It's about the right size. It's maybe a little smaller than what I see outside. Let's see if it's any good. It's not bad. It's not as good as the ones I get outside, but I have to admit it's not fully ripe yet either. But I couldn't wait. I had to taste it. The plants have been growing quite well. I started the seeds around August 1st, so it's been 3 months. We've gone from seed to eating the first fruit. The plants are full of tomato. I haven't actually counted them, but as a rough estimate, I'm sure there's 50 tomatoes in there, and they're still flowering and making new ones. Now, how does that compare to growing outside? Well, I'm in zone 5. When I grow tomatoes outside, and in fact, the Sweet 100s outside, I start them somewhere middle April, depending on how ambitious I am. And I'll get my first tomato about the 3rd week of July if I do everything right. I should have them by August 1st. So we're looking at 4 to 4.5 months from seed to eating my first tomato if I do it outside. In the grow tent here, it's been 3 months. So why is there such a big difference? I'm finding the plants are growing very fast, much faster than what I normally experience outside. And I think the secret is the temperature. Keep in mind that when I start tomatoes, I start them indoors, so the seeds germinate just as quickly as these did. And they grow well inside under lights. But then I take them outside into some cold environment. I mean, it's not freezing anymore, but it's still very cold. And the soil is cold. So for the first month or so, the tomatoes don't do a lot. They're slowly making roots, slowly growing. We do have a common myth that's floating around that says you should plant things in fall because roots grow really well in cool soil. And I checked that out, and there's a blog post on gardenmyths.com that goes into detail. But That's bunk. Plants grow the best roots in warm soil in July and August. I don't know why people recommend planting in the fall to get root growth. By the time the soil cools down, plants stop making roots, or at least the roots grow very slowly. So when I take them outside, the plants are growing very slowly for a month to 6 weeks. Then it gets warm and the plants take off. In the grow tent here, they had warmth right away, and particularly at the root. Remember, the roots are in these raised pails here, and they're warm. So I've knocked 4 to 6 weeks off the growing period to my first fruit. What about the watering system? I have 4 plants. 2 are being watered by the gravity-fed system from Spider Fermer. And I have a whole video that looks at that product. And I'll put a link to that and several other videos about the products I'm using here in the description. It's actually a pretty good system. It's hooked directly to 2 of the plants. The gravity-fed water comes down, flows into the reservoir at the bottom, and slowly seeps up into the pails using a wicking system. I only fill that pail every 2 weeks, and I don't fill the pail. I'm only putting some water in there, maybe 3/4 full. If I filled it all the way, this thing would last me a whole month. Compare that to manual water. And the 2 plants on this side are manual watered. I water them every 2 days. These things are really thirsty, and they're giving off a lot of moisture. And I pretty much water them every 2 days, compared to every 10 to 14 days. So the automatic watering system is providing lots of moisture. But what about the plants? Are the plants actually growing well? Well, you might remember from the earlier videos that I have one strange plant, which is here now, and it's always grown weird leaves. I'm not sure what's wrong with it, but I'm sure it's something to do with genetics. The other 3 plants are about the same. I really can't tell any difference between the watering system. They're all providing good growth, about the same. They're all producing fruit. The fruit's developing. Now, I have to admit that the best plant in the group, the largest one with the most fruit, is this one here. It is the cultivar Purple, which is a special GMO plant, and it is using the traditional hand watering system. It's the largest and has the most fruit, but that's only one plant, and there aren't enough plants in here to make a statistically accurate prediction of which watering system works. What I can say is that both systems are working quite well. I love looking at these tomatoes. The stem right here is one of the first ones that was pollinated. I ate one fruit from here. This one's almost ready. This one's quite red. This one's red. If they're outside, I could pick them now and finish the ripening process in the kitchen. But I'll probably just leave them on the plant. They're looking really good. My plan for these plants is that I was going to let them grow up to the light, and then I would use the lower and lean system that I described in the previous video to bring them back down and let them grow again. And the plan was that I would just simply keep going around and around in a circle with these plants. That's not going to work. These lower stems are really thick, and they're not that flexible. This tent is only a 3x3, and there's no way I'm going to wrap these around without breaking the stem. The second problem I have is that even though the stems are quite low here, they're full of fruit. So I can't lower this fruit, and yet the top is touching the light. These plants are just growing far too fast for this tent. What am I going to do? I'm not really sure, but I have 2 options that I'm going to try. The first one is that I want to try to get a new shoot growing near the base here, a new sucker lower down, and grow it up. In the meantime, this one can stay here and finish its fruit. So on this stem, what I've done is I've topped the plant so it's not going to get any taller, and I'm hoping that it suckers along this stem. Now there's a technique that I've read about that might help. If you make a small cut in the stem, you can force a sucker lower down here. I don't know if that's going to work, but I'm going to give that a try. But there's no way I can use the lower and lean system for a year in here. It's only been 3 months, and I've got a long way to go if I want to keep this plant. So I'm going to try that with a couple of these plants. The other option is I've started some new seeds of some determinate plants. They're going to stay smaller. Slowly, I'm going to replace a couple of these with determinate plants. Now, determinate plants, as far as the gardeners go, are plants that grow a certain height, then they make fruit, and then they stop growing. And that never made any sense to me. So a couple of years ago, I researched this, and I tried several plants, and it turns out that's another myth that gardeners have. Now, there is such a thing as determinate plants as far as botanists go, but they use a different definition. The definition gardeners use is wrong. There is no such thing as a gardener's determinate plant. What these plants actually do is they grow to a certain height, make fruit, and then that stem stops growing. That part is true. But at the same time, the plant makes side shoots, and those side shoots grow to a certain size, stop, and make fruit. Then they make side shoots and grow and make fruit, and so on and so on. So determinate plants do exist, but the definition's different than what we think. These plants will continue to get taller and taller, but at a much slower rate than these indeterminate plants. And they will produce continually. So I'm going to try a couple of determinate plants. I'm going to try to use the sucker method, and hopefully one or the other works, because there's no way these plants are going to last for a year. So there you have it. That's my update. I'm starting to eat tomatoes. It's November 1st. I want to eat tomatoes every week for 365 days. I have to keep these guys going and start some of those new plants. And they're still flowering. So the plants that are in here now should give me food for at least 4 weeks, maybe longer. In the meantime, I'll get some new growth going, and they'll flower and make fruit. And I think I still have a chance to meet my goal. Anyways, there's lots of videos that describe the equipment I'm using. And there's 2 previous videos of starting this experiment. And I'll put links to all of that in the description below. And I'll put some links here so you have easy access to the experiment. See you next time.